Hello, folks, and today we're at the Charleston Area Model Railroad Club. I visited this club that has the Best Friend Charleston for their logo. On my way to go see the Best Friend Charleston, heard about this club, so I had to go take some film and walk around. That was a pretty cool headlamp. So this was something I did on vacation to go see the Best Friend, or as it's been nicknamed, the Friendly. So, anyways, this is probably my favorite part of the layout that I saw. This has a theme park setup, so it has a lot of moving pieces, like a boat ride, a Ferris wheel, which barely spins, but it's spinning, umbrellas, carousel, even a miniature train ride. Nothing like having a miniature train on a miniature train layout. But that was really neat to see. Yeah. So moving on, we see what appears to be their roundhouse setup, and I will apologize ahead of time for any bad camera work that's mixed into this. It does happen from time to time. It appears that they have a Christmas segment of the layout, so obviously, Christmas time's coming around the corner, and they're already getting ready. Now, one thing I did notice about the layout was a lot of stuff was pulled apart but being rebuilt. So it's kind of in a work in progress. So I noticed the layout has a lot of different tracks. I noticed they have Atlas, Lionel tubular track, Menards track. I really am sold on the Atlas after seeing this. They had lots of different trains running. Now, it would appear that they had a car wash set up in kind of a residential area. So I got some good film of the car wash in action. They had these neat little buttons that you could push to get all the accessories to operate. So I'll give you some audio of that in just a moment.
Okay, one more. Thank you. Please go forward.
Alright, so moving on, they have a fire department, a water tower, more of a residential area kind of town set up. There's the train station in the back there. Now, I noticed this layout had a lot of unfinished pieces, like the yard wasn't completely done. They have crossover. I noticed they use a lot of Lionel Fast Track as well. They have some billboards, trolley shed, lots of buses, tow trucks. This, I think, is a Lionel post-store engine. Container cars, tanker cars, coil cars, box cars. Pretty much the same stuff every time it goes around because they never change it. I mean, that's how you play with toy trains, right? So this is the first time I've seen one of these. It's a little toy train store setup. So it's toy trains on toy train layout, right? I like this is a Williams Easy Track Road setup, or Easy Street. And they had a trolley and a pumper car running on it. Now it's O-gauge, but it runs on just plain O-gauge track. So it was quite neat to see a lot of this stuff. Yeah. So continuing on, I will apologize for some of the camera pointing at just flat out track. They have kind of like a business area. Not really, that sounded strange. It was set up more for like Menards stores, movie theater, different stuff. They had some airplanes. And of course the layout's very much being rebuilt, so a lot of stuff's just kind of here and there and everywhere. Now this is the other half, so you cross over a bridge and then you're on to another part. So anyways, as you continue on, trains seem to really met up at the same places. Really nice for camera work. They had an upper loop. They had two upper loops actually on here. And then they have like a town square set up. lots of different buildings. This is the only steam engine that actually ran on the main level of the layout. Continuing on, you can see a station by MTH, it appeared. Yeah, it was very neat though to see all this setup. A lot of trains run today. So as you continue on, you can see that they have another crossover, along with a trolley that runs overhead. And so there's one outer loop that runs around the entire layout, and then there's two inner loops on each there's one inner loop on the first section, and the second section, which is the one we're looking at, they have two inner loops. So they can run a total of around 4 trains on the main loop. Then they have another 4 trains that run on the upper loop. So it was quite the setup. And then welcome to Lionelville. Let me know what year this was. I don't remember which year it was, but that was Lionel Machine Shop. And this is their other upper loop that they have, which has a little bit of American Flyer on it. Along with Thompson Friends, I noticed that they like Thompson Friends on the upper loop. Very cool to see a lot of this stuff. And then they have the wide swinging radius curves to turn all the trains around. So yeah. And this is pretty much the end of the layout, so we're probably going to have to start walking back. So yeah, here we go. So we're going to go back and see the N scale layout's behind me now. The HO's on the other end of the room. So yeah, we're going to walk back the length of the table. And then you can see they've decorated for Christmas with the Christmas lights. That's steam engine again. I noticed that not too many people in the club like steam engines, so they don't have a lot. But steam engines are also more expensive with all the wheels and all of that. Versus diesels are a little bit cheaper. Alright, now you're looking at the N-scale layout, which was just across the hallway from the O-gauge layout. And this layout was a modular layout, and this was probably the best part, was this gigantic bridge. That was pretty cool. And there's 3 tracks that branch back together, and they loop around the layout. Densely very much unfinished. That's one end of the layout, and then trains loop around. And then on the other side, it seems to be very much an industrial setup, and then it goes. And then here's some of the different scales they had. Some trains they had on display, which was pretty cool. A lot of O-gauge. And then here's the HO layout. This is a Bachmann Berkshire. It had sound in it. It was pretty cool. It was hauling a coal drag, as they call it. Very common on the Chesapeake and Ohio. And this is another new Bachmann hauling a passenger train, Amtrak. And there's this really long freight train that was going up through the yard. It turned out to be a Broadway Limited Greyhound color scheme, Northern from the Union Pacific. This is a model I'd like to get. That was pretty cool. It had some nice sounds. I think this is Broadway Limited. It might be Athearn, but I'm fairly sure it's Broadway Limited. And then they had kind of definitely another work in progress town. And then they have the tank rolling down Main Street. Again, it's a toy train layout. Do whatever you like with it. Still pretty cool. And then this is, a lot of the layout was actually blocked off, but this is another part I could get to. And this was like a dog bone where they turned all the trains around. And they had a big roundhouse in the middle. And this is definitely a steam engine based area because it has the coaling tower, water tower, big steam engine turntable. Definitely a 30s era design for steam and different facilities for steam engines were on the layout. So yeah, I'm going to let y'all enjoy watching some of this with some music for a little bit, and then we'll be back here soon. Alright, so now this is the part where I actually thought there will be a train wreck. However, I will say that the driver of this particular train is being nice. He's ringing bells and blowing horns to me, so that was really great. But you'll see why I thought there was going to be a wreck here soon. Another neat thing to see was the fact that HO trains on the HO layout was actually being used as a switching yard in the yard limits to park passenger trains and get freight trains going. I noticed that the yard was really empty, but they had a lot of freight trains running, so that probably had something to do with it. And then it was really neat to see that they had trains that were still able to run through without having to stop. Probably because HO switches, just by the weight of a locomotive or car, can just kind of throw the switch as needed. But that was really neat to see. And then point out the Baby Ruth car, because I actually have an O-gauge one that's white and blue. Similar to that, though. And a little bit more of the Amtrak engine. So, these are all kind of some film that I got towards the end, and just kind of skimming over some other things. And, yeah. I had a great time in the train club, and actually I came back for this film. This was a freight train that goes to show that they're doing switching on the layout. The 284 Berkshire that was hauling the coal drag is now pushing a freight train, which was kind of cool to see that they're doing stuff like this. And yeah, so anyways, this will have to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, thank you for watching. See you on the rails.